It was a quiet evening in the small Serbian city of Selenka, nestled amidst rolling hills and charming cobblestone streets. The sun was beginning its descent, casting a warm golden glow over the picturesque town. As I strolled along, a sense of tranquility filled the air, and I found myself lost in the enchanting scenery. My curiosity was piqued when a faint melody reached my ears, carried on the gentle breeze. Following the haunting notes, I turned a corner and came upon a scene that seemed straight out of a dream. There, in the middle of the deserted road, a solitary figure swayed gracefully to an ethereal tune. It was a Serbian lady, her long dark hair cascading like a waterfall down her back. She wore a flowing crimson dress that billowed with each step she took. Her movements were mesmerizing, a blend of fluidity and precision that held me captivated. I couldn't tear my eyes away from her, even though I was watching from a distance, hidden behind a nearby building. As I continued to watch in awe, the lady's dance reached a crescendo. Her arms extended outward, and her feet glided over the worn stones of the road. It was as though she was weaving a spell, drawing the very essence of the town into her dance. But just as suddenly as the dance had begun, it came to an abrupt halt. The lady's head snapped in my direction, and her eyes locked onto mine. What had been an expression of serene beauty a moment ago transformed into a visage of rage and fury. My heart pounded in my chest as a chill ran down my spine. I had been caught in the act of observing her, and she was not pleased. Without warning, she hurled the knife she had been holding toward me. The blade whizzed through the air, narrowly missing me and embedding itself into the wall just inches from where I stood. Panic surged through my veins, and my survival instincts kicked in. I turned and sprinted down the narrow alleyway, my heart racing and my breath coming in ragged gasps. Behind me, I could hear the pounding of footsteps, and I dared not look back to see just how close she was. The labyrinthine streets of Selenka seemed to blur together as I weaved through them, desperately trying to put distance between myself and the enraged dancer. My mind raced as I thought of a way to escape this perilous situation. I took a sharp turn into a shadowy alley, hoping to lose her in the maze-like layout of the city. The sound of her footsteps grew fainter, and I allowed myself a momentary glimmer of hope. But just as quickly as it had faded, that hope was shattered when I felt a sharp gust of wind behind me. I risked a glance over my shoulder and my heart plummeted. She was still there, her figure illuminated by the pale moonlight. Her eyes blazed with an unsettling mix of anger and determination, and in her hand, she held another knife. It was clear that she was relentless in her pursuit, and I knew I had to find a way to outwit her. I pushed myself harder, my legs burning and my lungs aching with every breath. The city seemed to stretch on endlessly, the buildings merging into a surreal blur of colors and shapes. My thoughts raced as I desperately searched for an escape route or a hiding spot. Just ahead, a narrow passage led into a dimly lit courtyard, and I made a split-second decision to dart inside. The woman followed closely behind, her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. I scanned my surroundings, my heart pounding as I realized I had no way out. I was trapped. But then, as if guided by a stroke of luck, I spotted a heavy wooden door at the far end of the courtyard. With a surge of adrenaline, I sprinted toward it, my breath coming in ragged gasps. As I reached the door, my fingers fumbled with the latch, and I could hear the woman's footsteps closing in. With a final burst of strength, I managed to wrench the door open and stumbled into a narrow alleyway. My heart raced as I slammed the door shut behind me, my back pressed against the rough surface. I listened intently, but the sounds of pursuit had ceased. I took a moment to catch my breath, the gravity of the situation sinking in. I had narrowly escaped the grasp of the furious dancer, and now I found myself alone in the quiet alley, the echoes of her anger still ringing in my ears. As the minutes ticked by, the adrenaline began to ebb, leaving me with a mixture of relief and lingering fear. I couldn't help but wonder what had prompted such a violent reaction from the mysterious Serbian lady. Had she been guarding some ancient secret? Or had my unintended intrusion disrupted a ritual of sorts? With a cautious glance back toward the courtyard, I decided it was time to make my exit. I retraced my steps through the labyrinthine streets of Selenka, my senses on high alert. The once charming town now held a shadow of uncertainty, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I had stumbled upon something far more enigmatic than I could have ever imagined. As I reached the outskirts of the town, I cast one last glance over my shoulder, half expecting to see the Serbian lady emerge from the shadows once more. But the streets remained empty, the memory of her dance and the chilling encounter lingering in my mind. The stars twinkled overhead as I walked away from Selenka, the haunting melody of the lady's dance echoing faintly in the distance. Though I had escaped her wrath, I couldn't escape the sense of mystery that now enveloped the small Serbian city, a mystery that would forever remain etched in my memory, a dance of shadows and secrets that had forever changed the course of my journey.